Hello everyone, and welcome to another entry in Michael's Marginalia. In this second edition of Marginalia, I would love to do a little bit of a stationery haul, kind of explore the new cover that I'm kind of creating for my work planner. I've purchased some bits that I'm going to Frankenstein together into what I hope will be a really great work cover for my Hobonichi system for the second half of the year. I would also love to spend some time with you showing you a new pen that I recently was gifted, ink up that pen, swatch the ink that was also a gift that I'm going to be putting into that pen, and then end with a little bit of journaling in my travel journal about a day I had here in the city. So many things to accomplish, so let's get started. Recently I got to visit Loaf on Paper, which is Neko Sakaya's a stationery shop in the Lower East Side. They've opened up a cafe and a stationery shop in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And I got to visit the coffee shop and the stationery shop. I'll insert a photo here of the exterior and maybe of what the inside looks like a little bit. I have a haul to kind of go through. It's a little bit of a mini haul. I did not get a bag with my purchases because I had my tote bag, so I thought I would be truly authentic and take the haul out of my Penguin Classic tote bag, which was my shopping bag for the day. Let's get into these goodies. And so this is what I picked up from the shop in Loaf on Paper. Let's start with stickers, and then we can come back to other items. Well, this is actually a card, a journaling card, a postcard for Loaf on Paper that just has a lot of the images, the coffee shop, this little guy making a latte, the Loaf on Paper tote bag, all very, very cute. These are available also in some stamps that I was very tempted to buy, and I'm sure at some point in the future we'll give into that temptation, but I thought that this would be really nice to kind of stick up on my wall in front of my desk because they're just so cute. So I picked that up. I picked up this vinyl sticker. I went to the coffee shop with my friend Nikki. She is somebody who I do lots of adventures around the city with because she loves to find really fun treats for us to try. And I thought that this was a great representation of the both of us. Her being the shorter cat with the bag of donuts, since she is the procurer of treats, and me holding one of the donuts since I am the consumer of the treats. And we both recently read the book Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt, I think it is. I'll put a photo of the book here. And one of the main protagonists of the story, or narrators, is an octopus named Marcellus. And I thought that we've been talking about him a lot recently was very appropriate. And so we have here the sticker, and that's going to be going into my traveler's journal. Speaking of traveling, I picked up this beautiful sheet. This is by the artist Mariko Fukioka. We can see there, that is the most adorable squirrel I've ever seen. And I love these because they're all travel related. And I do love to travel. And even if it's not travel related, it has activities that I enjoy. Again, sweet treats, flowers, happy mail, reading, all sorts of fun things there. So I'm really excited to get to use this in my journal. I also have this one. I thought this was so interesting. The title of this one says Crayon Art, and all of the drawings are as if they're done with crayon. This is a Mind Wave collection, and I'll just do a little close-up here so you can see them all close up, but all excellent things for a stationery lover slash book lover to have put in there. So I'm excited to use these. And then this one is called Routine Charm. It's also a Mind Wave collection, and I just really loved as a coffee addict, the coffee theme, as well as little pastries. I do love to bake, and journaling and reading are kind of all in there. I might actually use some of these when I journal about this visit to Loaf on Paper, because I had a slice of cheesecake that looked surprisingly similar to that, and we had coffee and we read. So this is actually a pretty great sticker to throw in there. So those are the stickers that I picked up. I guess related, I have this PET tape that I purchased. This one is from Ars Studio, and it is called Desk of Botanist. And I'm gonna actually unwrap this so we can look at it. I picked this up because a while back I was given a sample, a PET sample, in some Happy Mail that I received. And I think that this was the sample, and I think that this is the same company. I really love this PET tape. I've sliced up and hacked out many of the different things already in here to the point where it's now these little strips. And the style of the images is very, very similar. So I do think that this is the same company, and I've really loved this sample that I received. So I am excited to continue using my own PET tape and then having enough and perhaps being able to give some of my own samples away. So let's get in there. Gonna use letter opener. I did not mean to stab through the top. I was gonna hopefully save this sticker, but it might be salvageable. Yes, success. And when I stick this down, I can fix this tear. Oh God, hopefully I don't make it worse. I'm just gonna stick this to the edge of my desk to save it for now. Let me know in the comments if you are also kind of crazy about saving those kinds of things, because that was probably more work than was worth it. But now I can put it in my stationery journal. So let's see what this PET tape looks like. Seem to have some jam, some playing cards, some florals, some mortar and pestle, some vials, lots of little plant ephemera, books, a candle. Wow, I am so into this, and it just keeps going, people. I can't really tell how well you're able to see all of these things, but we're back at the jam. So that is the complete loop from this envelope. All right, and then that is the PET tape. And then I purchased a pack of MD paper, A5 gridded, for my pen pals, Happy Mail, ink swatches. I recently, in another haul video, my first Marginalia, I think I showed the pack of Aerofull paper that I purchased, and I'm really excited to do some ink swatching where I compare MD paper to Aerofol to Tomoe River paper, just to kind of see how the ink is acting. And having this like loose paper pad will be really helpful for that. And I may have secretly already opened this pad while I was in the store because I wanted to get a stamp. What's interesting about this pad is it picks up from this corner and the paper is attached here and here. So when you pull, it's kind of caught and you tear it away. I like this better than the loose stack of paper because I can toss this in my drawer and it's not going to shuffle paper everywhere. Whereas the Aerofol paper I've had to keep in the plastic that it came in. But as I was saying, I opened this pad actually in the store because I wanted to be able to, for my stationery journal, collect the Loaf on paper stamp. And I foolishly did not bring a journal with me, but because I purchased this MD paper, I was able to get it stamped there. And so I will cut this or tear it and put it into my stationery journal at a later time. And until then, it's going here in my little ephemera collection. And I'm excited to get that back out when I decide to do that journaling. And last but not least, I'm actually going to save this for my stationery journal in the original packaging for now. Last but not least, I got MARU liner dot markers, and this is the nature set. I already own some MARU liner dot markers. I have this set with shrimp pink, cinnamon, turmeric, tangerine, mint, and sage green. There were 2 packs of these at Loaf on Paper, and I could not remember which pack I had, but I remembered that I had mint and turmeric, and so I literally like moved the markers around until I could see the names of the colors and realized that this is a different set. And I wanted to get this because in my Hobonichi weeks, something that I do in the week area is I have my habit tracker and my to-do, and I use the dot marker. So this week I used turmeric to create the dots for those, and I've been really enjoying that, but being limited to 6 colors really limited the color palette, so I'm excited to have 6 more, some that are similar and some that are different hues, to be able to use. And so I'm going to pop this open. And the colors that come in this nature set are good lord. I'm also going to save this for my stationery journal. So pop this into the MD paper bag so I don't lose this ephemera for later. They come in rain blue, amethyst, Nemophilia or Nemophila, red rock, coral, and canary. I'll hold these up a little bit closer so you can see the ends of the markers. And I thought I would just swatch these on some loose MD paper that from where I cut off that stamp. So I'm just gonna zoom this in here and get swatching away. So rain blue, I'm gonna do a dot and then a swipe, and I will write this here with my Energel Clenna. This is the 0.4. Then we've got Amethyst. Red Rock. That's a fun one. Nemophila. Or Nemophila? Coral. And last but not least, Canary. Interesting. So here are the MARU dot markers. Ooh, gosh, I'm probably moving all over the place. All right. So that is my haul from Loaf on Paper. I hope that you've enjoyed unpacking these materials with me. I'm really excited to kind of have added to my arsenal of these dot markers. Wow, I'm really good at holding things in frame today. This arsenal of dot markers, to have this loose MD paper. I'm super excited about this PET tape and the assortment of stickers that I got, which hopefully you'll see me use some of them in another part of this update where I do some journaling. All right, I'm going to be passing this video on to future Michael, who will be kind of creating a new cover for his work planner. And so, yeah, let's head on over to the future with him and see that happen. Okay, welcome. I'm really excited to kind of set up my new work planning system for the first half of this year. As a reminder, in an earlier video, I talked about how I used this cover for my work planner as I was kind of testing out using the Cousin system, Avec Cousin system as my new work planner. But in trying to really get that planner piece for work, I realized that that was a little bit too bulky. And so I thought I would show you a little mini stationery haul of some things that I got to try to like create a better setup for my work planner. So if you watched the other video about planning as a teacher and as an educator, and I'll link it up at the top here, you are familiar with this January to June cousin that I worked with, but I'm excited to transition into this July to December for the fall semester. I'm gonna I'll probably record at a later time, putting stickers and setting up the cover of this, as well as maybe bringing you along as I set up some of the monthlies and get this planner ready for the first couple of weeks of school and the summer work that I'm doing in here. But this is more about just like the cover and how I'm going to be kind of like setting up a cover that I think is going to work really well for me. So the first thing is I got an order from Jet Pens, and I'm excited for this Kokuyo notebook cover in the A5 size. When I purchased this, this was the only color available. So it's this gray outside, and it's got like a dusty pink interior. I can show that better when I take it out of the packaging. But I'm really excited to see what this is like. I guess the official name is Dusty Olive here. So this olive-y outside and the pink inside. But yeah, I'm going to open this up. All right, and here is the cover. So you open it up. It's got a flap here for inserting the notebook, another interior flap in case you like to do both covers. I kind of only like to do the back cover and leave the cover facing up here so you can see any decoration here to kind of personalize it a little bit more. Then there's some interior flaps here, a smaller interior flap, and then there is this kind of pen area. Now I knew when I purchased this that pen area was probably not going to be something that I would use. Also movie magic. This came with 2 pink ribbons. Oh, and I guess I can show you the pink interior better. This came with 2 ribbons, but I snipped them off. I'm not a huge bookmark fan, so I just usually snip it off right at the seam. I knew that this pen loop, as I was mentioning, wasn't going to probably work for me because it's going to kind of add some bulk. You know, it is a convenient spot to kind of slide a pen, but then when you close it, I don't know how I feel about that, creating that kind of gap there. And I could tell that it would probably rub on any decoration or sticker that I put there. So I have a different plan for what to use this pen loop area for. And then another thing that I've purchased to kind of allow me to attach a pen here. So I'm just gonna take this out for a second. So I've got this cover. I do like the feel of it. It's got like a nice leathery feel. It is very thin, so when I had the notebook in there just now, it's going to keep it nice and secure, but also like not be super bulky, especially since it is the Avec version and I only have half the year in at a time. I think it's going to be really nice, and it's going to feel easy to carry in my arms with like my laptop underneath, as opposed to this case, which just with all of the accoutrement and things in it just felt really thick in my hands as I was carrying it around. And the zipping and the unzipping just became a lot, you know, as I rush from meeting to meeting or sit down here, sit with a teacher. And my plan for this, I think, will be a lot easier. So instead of putting a pen here in this pen loop area, I went online and I found this lifestyle boutique, and I don't know how they pronounce it, but Omoy. It's in Philadelphia, and they had this product that I was looking for, which is this plotter band with lifter. Now this is for like a plotter system, which is a rings system, but I think if it works out well, it's going to work with this cover. So I'm going to kind of Frankenstein my own kind of system here. So let's get this open. And so yeah, this is a ring system. You would put this in your plotter, and then this band would, you know, kind of close the planner. But I think I'm going to be able to slide this in here, well, this way, and then have the band kind of come out through the pen loop. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, well, some movie magic that happened off screen because I forgot to film. I tried to insert it and it worked, but it works, but this was slightly not centered. The pen loop hole and the band were kind of not centered. It works because this inner pocket where you would be putting the front cover of the notebook is actually just goes straight to the opening. There's no seam or anything. So you can slide this right in, but it was a little too much bulk on this left-hand side. So off camera, because I didn't think to film it because, you know, that was silly on my part, I measured just a little bit and then used my scissors. I scored it and then used my scissors to follow the score and kind of cut off a little bit of that excess. So now I get to do this, which is to slide that through and bend this a little. It is going to be a little awkward because there is that tab that is not going to fit until it reaches the opening. Aha! Now it has. I can take this and really secure it into place. Boom. So now, let's put the Hobonichi Cousin back in. So now, I can close it. This plotter band with lifter is right here, coming out of the pen loop. So when I close this, I now can take this band and close the cover. Oh, perfect. So again, I had to just slice off like this infinitesimally little small sliver of that, the plastic holding the band so that it would slide in and fit in here the way that it needed to. And so last but not least, in order to make this the perfect planner cover system for my work planner, I do need a pen loop. I would love if my pen could sit here on the side of my planner, and so I have turned to the classic Leuchtturm 1917 pen loop in an XL size. This was actually quite difficult to find online. That wouldn't take forever to ship to me, or that I would need to add a lot of things to my cart to get free shipping. It was not available on Amazon, and you know, trying to support Amazon these days anyways, but I did happen to go by a local stationery store, Janoff's on the Upper West Side, and they had it. They didn't have it in black, which I am, you know, a little sad that it won't match the band, but it's close enough. And I'm excited to find the XL version. I could find the regular version in lots of places, but not this XL. And I want an XL because if I want to use a fountain pen, or even just using this Energel Clenna, it is a pretty thick pen, and I would only be able to kind of clip the pen clip into the regular sized version of this Leuchtturm pen loop. So I've got pen loop. Let me make sure that she's gonna fit this pen, and she is. And where do I want that on this cover? I do feel always like weird about gluing something permanently onto something. I know it'll come off and I could probably get the residue off, but it still is a little nerve-wracking. And I think I would want that right about there. Yeah, I think that looks good. And so I'm gonna slide the pen out. Maybe I'll use this sliver that I cut off as like my marker of where I want it. Just about there. And I'll use one of these little clamps to just kind of hold that in place for now as I peel this off. As somebody who unfortunately does not have great nails because I sometimes bite them, shout out to nail biters, it is a problem peeling these kinds of things, with stickers especially, but I seem to have gotten it. All right. And taking off the clamp. And I wanted this about here. Ooh, commitment. And so now I've got the band. Whoopsh. I've got the pen loop. And I have an amazing cover for my Hobonichi Cousin Avec work planner system. And I think that is pretty freaking great. So now when I come to a meeting, I can just slam this down, take off my band, turn to whatever page I need, slide out my pen, and get started. Love it. Amazing. All right, thank you for joining me for this part. Let me know if you use any of these products, and if you enjoy them as well, or if you use something different for your Hobonichi Avec system, if you use it at work, or any planner that you have at work, what covers really work well for you. I am excited to have kind of created the perfect cover for myself. And yeah, I look forward to hearing about what you used as well. All right, so I'm gonna send it back to Michael, me, in the other section of this video. Hello, and welcome to the ink and pen section of this second chapter of Michael's Marginalia. In this section, I'm going to be swatching a new ink. I'm going to be inking up a pen and testing it out. And I'm really excited to do both of those things with you. So what's really special about this pen and ink portion of the Marginalia is that they are both gifts. I was gifted this bottle of DeAtramentis archive ink, which I'm going to be swatching today, and then also using this ink to fill up, drumroll please, lovely Pilot Vanishing Point pen in an extra fine nib that was gifted to me as well. In my June flip through, I mentioned that I had a planner meetup, or a planner/journaling meetup, with two local creators here in New York. Gray from Ant Nauseum Plans and Simone from Planner Coven. And they both were so generous with gifting different stationery materials, stickers, ephemera. Gray packaged hers in plastic with like name tags, and Simone brought all of her materials, but also was so kind to bring this ink and two other inks, as well as this fountain pen. And because I am newer to the hobby, and they were, she knew I was really into fountain pens, she decided to give this to me. And it is like, I can't even use words to express how grateful I am and how beautiful of a gesture this is. I know lots of different creators on YouTube talk about how lovely the planner community is, and how supportive and kind and empathetic and just like amazing this group of people is, which is why I got into this hobby in the first place, and why I decided to kind of make these videos myself. And I'm just so thankful to have been gifted this. This is on my wish list. I have my Jinhao dupe of the Vanishing Point that I've used. It's been my tried and true. I also tried the other Vanishing Point dupes out there. The Jinhao's been my favorite. The others tended to dry out a little bit, or just not a little bit. They would dry out even though the flap was supposedly sealing. I guess it just wasn't sealing really well, but this Jinhao has done a really great job. And so I knew that like the clip didn't bother me. I really enjoyed it as a pen. And so I knew eventually one day I would like to save up and get one, but I don't have to do that anymore because of this gracious gift. And I'm also thankful to Simone for providing this, and to Gray for all of the lovely things that she gifted me as well. I'm just really excited to have that local planning community, and for us to continue meeting and sharing with one another. So I'm going to be taking this ink and I'm going to be putting it in this pen and seeing how it writes. And I'm really excited about that. So another exciting thing that is new as I move into the swatching portion of this section is when I first started ink swatching, I was using a Q-tip, and it was doing a pretty decent job, but you can see in certain inks, I don't know if you can really see the pressure lines where I'm pushing the Q-tip down would really come out in the ink. And then recently in swatching some other inks, you can kind of see the lines here too. I don't know if the camera's catching them really well. But recently I switched to using a paintbrush, and I really enjoyed the paintbrush technique for swatching. But today I've received something in the mail a little bit ago, and let me just use this clamp to get this in place. Something in the mail a little bit ago that I ordered from Etsy. This came at the recommendation of another creator, Micah, who is on YouTube, and I'll also link her here as well. And she is the artist behind the Cat Collage Club. And she had mentioned a creator on Etsy. I'm sorry, I did not make sure I'm in frame here. And she had mentioned using a muddler, and linked an Etsy seller who creates these beautiful muddling sticks. And she's been using them in her ink swatches, and I thought I would give that a try as well. Eventually down the line, I think a really fun quick video update would be to kind of show the different swatching methods and how one ink looks on the same paper. So I'm definitely going to think about doing that in the future, just so we can kind of get a side-by-side comparison. But for today, I'm going to be swatching this archive ink using this muddler. And I'm very excited to do that. It is completely escaping me the name of the artist that makes this muddler, but I will make sure that in the description below I link to the Etsy shop, and maybe here I can also put it on the screen. But I'm very excited to use this. So without further ado, let's get started. So again, we have this DeAtramentis ink, and opening it up. And this is so exciting. All right, and whoa. That is going on a lot thicker than either the paintbrush or the Q-tip. I'm actually a little worried that I am bleeding through to the next page, so I might do a little peek. I think I'm okay. Usually I put like a really thicker splotch here, but I am wondering if that is even necessary with how thick this has gone on. Maybe I can use the tip end to do a like oh my gosh. Well, okay. I'm gonna stop there while I am ahead. That was unintentional, but so what I will say about the muddler is very saturated. It's really laying the ink on there. And let me see. DeAtramentis. So it's gonna put me at 4. Okay, so I'm gonna do that there. Interesting. It almost like falls right off of this glass dip pen. It's not holding onto the glass like other ink has. And I don't know if that's because of its archival nature or... Fascinating. Oh, I've also gotten it all over myself. Well, it's not an ink video or an ink swatch if you don't get ink all over your fingers, right? This is very interesting. It is like really trapped in the grooves of the glass dip pen more than usual, but it's fascinating because it feels like the ink has slid off of the pen more easily, but the grooves have held on to some of it more stubbornly than in other inks. It's almost like contradictory, but I will bring this up to the camera just so we can see how it's going so far. Definitely still needs to dry. I mean, that is a black ink. And I will leave it clamped here to dry. Wow. That little puddle is gonna take forever. Fascinating. All right, well, I'm excited to see what this looks like when it is dry. It's definitely gone on very wet and very thick. And I don't know if that's just in general because of the muddler or is because I am not used to using it, but I do like that the ink slid onto the paper. There was no resistance. So I'm excited to keep trying this muddler in my inking. Okay, while we wait for this to dry, I'm just gonna pop open this Vanishing Point. When it was gifted to me, it did have a cartridge in it, but I do have the converter, and so I'm going to be inking up the converter that goes in the pen. And so usually to do that, I push the plunger all the way forward, because there is this kind of like metal grate that doesn't let the ink flow all the way down, and so I will inject some of the ink and then pull it into the converter a little at a time. Let me just, there's some moisture in here from when I washed the pen, and I want to make sure I get that out. Give me a second. And to do that, I'm just twisting some paper towel and getting it in there to get that moisture out. All right, so I'm gonna do this here on the napkin, or my towel, excuse me. And we're gonna do a little bit of ink. I always get so nervous that I'm going to shoot too much at once in there. So I do a little bit of ink, and then I'm going to screw down to get the ink into the converter. And then I'm going to keep doing that. Get a little bit of ink in there. Take the plunger down to get ink into the converter. And I probably can do one more. Ink. Take the plunger down. All right, ink into the converter. The rest of this back in the bottle. And let me just get the cap on. Let's get this into the pen. So, converter into the nib. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a twist down. Then getting the nib into the pen and the cap. And then let's try it out. Okay. Here we go. Hello. Hello. I realize that that's probably very far away. So I'm going to zoom us in here. She's writing like a dream. That is so fun, so beautiful. I am, oh, so grateful. Wow. This is going to be such a fun pen to use. So grateful, so thankful. And as soon as this finishes drying, I now need to make a note to myself. I have a section in my ink notebook where I have a drawing for each pen, and I keep a log of what that pen is inked with. And now I need to do a drawing for my Pilot Vanishing Point. So I'm just going to write myself a note on this Post-it that I will then stick into this notebook. Yeah, need this to dry though, so I'm just gonna come back when that happens. All right, we're back and it has dried a lot. It is still not perfectly dry, but you can see this archive ink here. I do feel comfortable enough also turning the page. It did not bleed through, so that is exciting, although the page underneath is a little warped, I think, from the weight and the way that the paper has warped from this ink. But in the pen section of my notebook, just heading to the back of it, and putting a reminder that I need to add my vanishing point, and that it is in the DeAtramentis archive ink. And so yeah, that is the entry in my ink journal for this ink. And I now have a newly inked Pilot Vanishing Point pen. Thank you so much for joining me for this portion of Michael's Marginalia, and I'm going to pass it on to future Michael, who is going to be doing some journaling and really rounding us out for this video. So I will catch you over with future me. Thanks. Hello, and welcome to the journaling portion of Michael's Marginalia #2. I thought it would be fun to bring you along as I jump into my travel notebook. This is a traveler's notebook that I use to record things concerning stationery and like New York City. So my travels through stationery travels through the city where I live. I mentioned earlier that I recently went to Loaf on Paper in Brooklyn, Neko Zakaya's stationery store and cafe in Brooklyn. And it was also just a really fun day out with a friend. We went and got coffee in the morning and went to a new spot to have an iced latte, but they had on top of the latte, they call it like cloud foam, so it's like this very creamy, foamy whipped cream. And then we went to the movie theater and saw Jurassic World. Is that the new one? Let me just pull this out. Get the ephemera out. Yes, it was the new Jurassic World film. And after that film, we then headed into Brooklyn to go to Loaf on Paper, and we, had a lovely treat and got coffee, and then did some stationery shopping, and then we read in the cafe. And so it was just a lovely day overall. And so I want to bring you into my notebook as I take the time to plan out and journal about this day's travels. So the first thing I've done is I make sure I got the ephemera here that I collected to put in here. And then I am going to next kind of figure out the layout. And I thought I would talk to you while I figure that out, and just kind of have you join me in this session. So one of the things that I'm thinking about is I know I want to use this sticker because it kind of represents me and my friend. I just have this like A5 zipper folder full of random bits of ephemera and things that I can use in my journaling. And I pulled some things that I thought might be useful, like this torn grid paper. This is a tear away calendar, page a day. And it has this quote, how good it is to be among people who are reading. And since my friend and I read together, I figure I could use that quote. We got breakfast, so I thought this might be appropriate. Coffee, tea, appropriate. And just some things that I think are kind of fitting the vibe color-wise. I also pulled this washi sample that I have because there's a really fun coffee washi at the top. Well, these are all drink related, but I do think that this fun gold foil would look nice in the spread. I know I want to use one of the stickers that I bought that day, in the spread. I also have these, and I don't have any dinosaur stickers, but this is a very random sticker collection called My Huge Pets, and I'm wondering if it would be kind of fun, since the Loaf on Paper logo is this giant cat, I think this is supposed to be a bat, but I think it could be flying dinosaur if I wanted it to be. And they were featured in the film. And then I have, come on, not the kangaroo. Oh my god, they're really gonna make me fight for this. Wow. Thank you. Jeez. The giant cat can be a representation of the Loaf on Paper visit. And the kangaroo and the duck will have to be used another day. All right. So let's think about this layout. It'd be interesting to know in your journals, like, how you collect your ephemera, how you lay things out. Are you very minimalist? Do you like to put a lot of backing? I'm trying to figure out what the feeling I have for this. I know I want it to be a 2-page spread. This is VoiceOver Michael joining you. I decided to speed up this process just to save us some time, and you can kind of see how I create this journal spread, and I can give you some insight with the voiceover. So here I am trying to balance out all of the major pieces of ephemera that I've collected, the movie tickets, the stickers I want to include. I tore up that quote from the reading page a day calendar. I am notoriously bad at cutting straight lines, so tearing paper creates a nice aesthetic and avoids me having to break out the ruler to make sure that my lines are straight. I used the tape that Loaf on Paper provided to tip in their business card, and I'm pretty excited because I can write on the back of the card and underneath as well. I'm going through all of the different ephemera that I have and kind of deciding what's going to stay and what's not. Decided on this Coffee Monster Co. floral fabric washi tape to include, as well as some of the stickers that I purchased. I'm realizing can go on the back of the tip-in, and I'm adding some dot grid paper so that it's not just stark white, using my glue roller to attach most of these things, but you will see that I'll come in with my glue stick every once in a while. I'm going through all of my sticker collections to try and find any stickers that I think are going to work. I have some coffee themed stickers that I think are going to be great in this piece. And now I'm just, gluing down all of the layers so that I can start building them up. The sticker and ephemera from the coffee shop I went to, the movie tickets, the sticker from Loaf on paper that I bought. I just want to make sure that I'm, kind of creating equal layers on each side so that it feels balanced. Right here I'm adding some dot grid paper to the middle of the left-hand side under the sticker to kind of match the fact that I'm going to be writing on some paper under that reading quote on the right-hand side. And I want it to look, filled in, but not too cluttered, because I do want to go in and add writing about the day and about the different things that we did in the space. So again, I'm here trying to rearrange and making sure everything kind of looks good. Adding in the ticket and then my bat turned dinosaur sticker. And then making sure that everything that is off kilter is artistically off kilter and not just crooked as I go through. It's about this moment I realized the tip-in would look better on the bottom right corner to balance the top left corner. They both have the elk sticker is so large that I think the Loaf on paper card looks better there to balance it out on the bottom right. I'm a little upset that it covered the library checkout card a little bit, but I think overall it added to the overall effect pretty well. And now I'm making sure that the top looks pretty good. Adding our cat sticker. This is when I realized that in my Sticky Club sticker sheets, there were a couple of stickers that actually hit the theme. I had this movie themed sticker sheet that I realized I could add to the spread. And there was this grocery sheet with little check boxes, and I thought it would be nice to add underneath the large cat to kind of also create almost like a checklist of things that we did at Loaf on paper. And I think that this ended up looking really, really great. And here I am adding the movie-themed stickers to the movie area. That space that I'm pointing at looked a little empty, so I added that coffee washi, and it looked pretty good, like perfectly balanced. And now I was just adding a few small stickers to kind of like pepper throughout, coffee-related, and using this PET tape that I got from Miso Paper that is stationery themed to fill in this stationery section about Loaf on paper on the right hand side. And I think overall I created a pretty balanced spread that I could add some writing to. I think now this is done. So I'm going to pop off screen for a moment and come back and show you the writing that goes into it. So be right back. All right. And by the powers of movie magic, the spread is complete. So I wrote about our coffee, the sticker and how I believe represents us, the movie we saw, our travels to Loaf on paper, all the things we did, our reading, the delicious treats that we had. I think that all in all, quite the successful spread we have going, spread I have going. Yeah, I'm excited to have another New York City magic moment documented in my New York City travel notebook. And with that, we come to the end of this section and to the end of this episode of Michael's Marginalia. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you've appreciated the random assortment of activities updated in this week. Please let me know in the comments below if you've had any stationery products you've gotten recently that you really love, any inks or pens that you're excited about. Let me know if there's a new coffee shop or a movie you've seen that you really enjoyed, or how you daily journal or travel journal in your TN. Do you use as much little bits and pieces as I have in that spread, or are you just a pen and paper, maybe a piece of washi here and there? I just love to hear about everyone's different ways of doing things. I hope that you have a good rest of the day, however much of that is left for you, and that you continue to enjoy the possibilities that a blank page brings. Until next time, have a great one. Goodbye.